For the fans.
For the fam. Doing it for the fam.
For 10 followers.
Hey, it's still 10. I think we're getting the draft specials and stuff, so we can talk about it. Just neither one of us has the time to focus like we need.
There we go.
Key is just to make sure that we stick with it for now, type of thing.
Okay. Nice.
Match that bitch. Okay, in fairness, I was trying to just land it on the couch. You had to use the bank shot.
Okay.
House rules.
Right.
Yeah, house rules.
3, 2, and 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Roughing the Competition. My name is Brant, and this is Trevor. And today is going to be the NCAA Week 11 key matchups.
Yeah, you see, this week kind of sucks. I mean, for crying out loud, he's wearing an NFL jersey. I'm wearing a hockey jersey, but we still have some things to talk about for college. Just, it's not an interesting week. So, like you guys, we're going to sort of take a week off here. But we owe you a show, so we're going to spice it up a little bit here. We are going to cover some of the games, but we're just going to start by looking at, well, the games involving playoff contenders, because what else matters at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, Brant, this is the list of the top 10 teams. I didn't include UCF because we're going to assume they win. They might be on bye. Honestly, I don't know. I just know they're undefeated. Anyways, though, let's talk about the 10 real contenders here. And Brant, who do you see having trouble this week, or do you see anyone having trouble?
Just in the playoff teams, just on the left here, I'm looking at Clemson and Boston College. They're really the only game that I'm looking at that might turn out the way that I kind of hope.
Yeah, you're having it's a trap game for Clemson.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see Clemson losing. It is going to be there in Boston College.
Yeah.
It is on the road. This is a game that Clemson could lose with the freshman quarterback, but I don't see it. But I think this is the last chance for Clemson to lose.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there until the ACC title game, because every conference game is a toss-up until someone can prove it to me otherwise. I know. Trust me, anybody that plays Bama is going to get blown up, but we know that's Georgia, but that's a whole other story. I'm kind of in the same boat there with you. I think Clemson's the big trap game. I called it a couple weeks ago during Outlooks. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be cold. It's going to be that miserable northeastern weather. It's up there in Massachusetts. It's not going to be a fun one. I think Clemson survives, but it'll be ugly. I mean, for me, it comes down simply to this. Bama's not losing. Georgia's not losing. Crying out loud, if Michigan or LSU loses, they both just need to be unranked because the two teams they play are god-awful.
Yeah.
Washington State's not losing. Colorado State started 5-0, or Colorado started 5-0, and they've lost since. So really the games that we're talking about here are Clemson. We're talking about Notre Dame because they did lose Book for this game. And we're talking about Bedlam between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about Ohio State. Personally, to me, Oklahoma's got to watch the trap. Notre Dame should survive because they're at home. And Ohio State, Buckeye fans, I'd be really, really nervous. You ain't looked good in weeks. Michigan State's looked better. I think there's an upset there, and I'm smelling it.
I still think Ohio State's going to win. You know, they probably, like I said, they probably should win. Mm-hmm. But it really wouldn't surprise me if they didn't with the way they've been playing.
Yeah. But, I mean, since there's not much here to talk about, we didn't want to leave you guys empty-handed on a show. So we're going to cover a couple other things here. Just some of the other kind of, I guess you'd call them key races. So first, we'll quickly bring up the conferences here. This here is basically the way the conferences look at the moment. Now, Brant, do you see anything changing? I mean, with the SEC, we're talking Bama, Georgia. ACC's all Clemson, the way it looks. Big Ten, probably Michigan, Ohio State. Washington State, do you see them falling in the Pac-12 maybe? Or do you think they're going to hang on?
I think Washington State's one of the few teams that are actually going to hang on.
Yeah.
I think Bama's going to win the SEC. Don't think that's really any surprise.
No, that's not
there.
A question.
Unfortunately, Clemson's probably going to win the ACC.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, I did pick those two teams so far to win those conferences, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I've had Clemson lose a couple games.
And OSU, I do think they hold on in the Big Ten. They have to start playing a little bit better, or they're just bye-bye Urban Meyer, possibly. Well, I guess we'll see later.
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask you about the Big 12 in a sec because that's your home conference.
That's why I wanted to let you talk
I
a
know.
little bit first.
All I'm going to say is Bama's got the SEC covered, let's just face it. Clemson's probably going to hang on in the ACC. Even if they lose, it's not going to matter much because they'll still be in the playoff contention. The Big Ten, I think, will get interesting. I'll talk more about that in a second, but I think it comes down to Michigan or Ohio State still. Just get into that dance is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Washington State making it. They still have Washington ahead of them, and they're probably going to play USC in that title game. And they're a team it's a Mike Leach, it's a typical story for him. He has really good years with a great quarterback who's throwing all over the place, but it's Texas Tech 08-09 again. You're just going to be just short. Just short.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that said, I mean, for me, speaking of Texas Tech, I think the Big 12 actually goes to Texas. Take the Tech off and go on Texas. But I know you disagree, so tell me quickly why you disagree.
Okay. I think Texas is going to lose this weekend to Texas Tech.
Yeah?
It's in Lubbock. I don't think either team's really been playing that well the last couple weeks. Neither. I mean, they've been on some losing streaks.
Yeah.
That last week was pretty nice, though, I must admit.
You won by a point in the final minute of a game.
A win's a win.
He said they were a bad team, but yet he won by a point with a minute left.
I said they've been playing bad recently.
Okay.
Just
continue.
Okay.
Just continue.
Anyways, I think West Virginia, Oklahoma are going to end up playing back-to-back weeks. The last game of the regular season and in the Big 12 title game. And I think the Mountaineers are going to win. Still do.
Yeah, I see them maybe beating Oklahoma, the Mountaineers, but I think Texas is going to be whoever gets there. My personal opinion. But we'll talk more about some of these conference teams in a minute because we're going to switch to another race that's not as interesting, but it is the Heisman Trophy, and we ain't talked about it at all. I mean, I think it's clear-cut. It's Tua. I mean, do you see any disagreement there on it being Tua?
It's pretty much a race for number 2.
Yeah, it's a race for who's getting the ticket to New York. I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, get the spotlight a little bit.
Yeah.
You get a little picture taken.
Which, with that said, I got 3 quarterbacks listed there. We got Kyler Murray, talking about Will Grier, we're talking about Gardner Minshew. They're chewing up the yardage. They're chewing up the touchdowns. All 3 teams are in playoff contention. Do you think they all 3 stay going to New York, or do you have any dark horses sneaking in? What do you think?
The only one I really honestly see, and that's just because his team is undefeated, is Milton.
Milton? You think Mackenzie Milton can get there?
I think he can get to New York. I don't necessarily. I think they might just give him a, hey, congratulations, your team went undefeated, but you're still not going to get the playoff.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, except for I disagree entirely on Milton. I don't think he'll be anywhere near it. He was 7th in last week's ballot. I don't see him getting any higher. UCF's not that great, in my opinion. They don't have any tough competition really left. But I think it's interesting looking at this list because Murray and Tua and Grier, yeah, they were all talked about at the beginning of the year. Gardner Minshew was not. But some of the other guys talked about are nowhere even in remote vicinity of this award.
Bryce Love.
Trace McSorley, Jarrett Stidham, Bryce Love, as you mentioned, Khalil Tate. None of those guys are there, which is interesting. How many of them will try and return? I mean, I think is Love a senior? I don't know if he is or not, but
I think he's a junior, actually.
Okay, so that means McSorley, I think, is the only one that might not return. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they pop back up in discussion next year because some of these guys are still underclassmen in Tua's case.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know on that, but yeah, we talked about Heisman Trophy. There ain't much to talk about there.
Tua's going to win this. It's already, might as well already have it.
Yeah.
But can we just go ahead and get the thing over with tomorrow?
Exactly. So let's go to something more interesting. All right, we've kind of touched on this, we kind of haven't. Dark horses. See, playoffs coming up. It's really an 11-team race right now. Mm-hmm. You got the 4 clear-cut ones: Bama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Michigan. They're your playoff 4. Then you got these 7 on the right that are just kind of, or I guess my left, your guys' right, that are kind of hanging out there. Now, the question is, Brand, if you just make a playoff prediction today, is that the 4 you go with, or is one of those 7 getting in?
As of today, yes, unfortunately, the left is one of the...
Boring.
It sucks. It does, but there's 3 undefeated and 1 team that's only lost to one of those guys that are undefeated.
You know there's like an 11% chance that actually happens, right?
I know, but I'm just saying, you said right now. You said right
I
now
know.
today.
I said right now. I said who would you pick?
I said right now today. I mean, I don't really care. Honestly, Alabama's going to win it all.
Not so fast, my friend. But okay. There's still Saturdays to be played.
If Tua gets hurt, maybe.
Yeah, true. But personally, I don't have these 4. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy. Bama's there. Okay, don't even start me. Clemson's there. Don't even start me there either. And Notre Dame's there. So don't start me there. But it's college football. There's chaos. And every year we see it. Is it a 2-loss team or a conference champion? 2-loss team, conference champ. Why should this year be different? Here's how I think this shakes out. Michigan loses to Ohio State. Going to happen. Georgia going to lose to Bama. LSU not losing again. Oklahoma's going to either lose West Virginia or Texas in the title game. I don't care how that one goes. Same with West Virginia. They either lose Oklahoma or Texas in the title game. Don't care how that one happens. Washington State's going to lose to both Washington and USC if they get the lucky honor of playing in that title game. But if they lose to Washington, they ain't even in the title game. So let's throw them out. So I'm left with Ohio State, UCF. And LSU's still there. Remember that. Ohio State, I got you losing to Michigan State. But you'll get your redemption. You'll beat up Michigan in 2 weeks and really just destroy the Big Ten's hopes of being in this title contention. So now let me ask you this, playoff committee. I left you Georgia, LSU, UCF. Who are you putting in? You going to put in a Georgia team that has a loss to LSU and Bama? You putting in UCF team that's undefeated, but frankly hasn't beat anyone. I mean, my grandmother's bingo club could be the toughest team on their schedule if they played. Or do you put in LSU, the team with right now 4 top 25 wins, probably going to pick up a 5th against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Only losses are Bama and Florida in the swamp. So are they in? Georgia, who's only lost to, as I said, LSU, Bama? Or do you really put an undefeated UCF team in who's played their schedule, but honestly has scheduled really bad? Like, non-conference is terrible for them. Dear God.
So does a 1-loss conference champion, say West Virginia or Oklahoma or anything like that, get in?
Oh, 1-loss conference champion, yes. But in my scenario, all your conference champs are 2 losses. So none of them are even talked to. It's a question of, do you put in the SEC team or do you put an undefeated UCF? Because at the end of the day, we all want to see that argument. I don't care who you are. You want everyone else to lose. You want to see that argument. All right. So with that said, we got one last segment here. Let's talk some crazy predictions. Now, Brant, coaches get fired every year.
They do.
NFL, we already saw the Browns fire their head coach. College, there's already been coaches told, hey, you're not coming back next year. But the end of the season always has that like Black Friday, Black Tuesday, whatever they call it, whatever day they fire everyone. You see anyone interesting getting fired this year?
If Dana Holgorsen doesn't make the Big 12 championship game, I think he's going to be fired.
Ooh.
He has the talent. It's there. It's there to honestly make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a national championship team, but it's a playoff team, I think. I think the talent is the playoff team level. And if you don't at least get to the Big 12 championship game, when the Big 12 has been playing down this year, I don't see any reason why to keep him.
Gotcha. Anyone else you got on there besides Holgorsen you want to mention? Or is that kind of your big one, you think? That's
really my big one. Any other Big 12s you thinking?
I actually have a list because I love trying to predict which coaches are getting fired. So first of all, there are going to be like 30 coaches fired. Lovie Smith, you'll probably be fired at Illinois, but I don't want to talk about the guys like you that, well, frankly, your teams suck. I mean, honestly, Kansas already fired their coach. That's predictable. Vanderbilt's probably going to fire Derek Mason. That's predictable. But I agree with you on Dana. I think Dana finds a way to get himself fired because you guys no longer want to be a good team. You want to be a great team. But speaking of that, you got some other teams that want to be great teams, and they're tired of this. We're good, we're not great. Looking over at TCU, it's time for Patterson to go. He's 4-5 right now. He's probably going to lose this week to West Virginia. That'll be 4-6. Probably drop the game at the end of the year, which I think they have Texas still. So we're talking, 7 losses there. So they'll be 5-7. Probably won't even get a bowl date. So since there's no one to take him to a bowl date, no reason he should have a job. Bye-bye. I think James Franklin's next, though. Penn State.
This year?
Yep, this year. Because guess what? Penn State wants excellence. He ain't providing it. Had one of the best QBs in the league in McSorley, right? In the whole nation. One of the best QBs. He's bobbled it. I mean, they'll be lucky if they finish with 10 wins this year, even with the bowl game. They already got 3 losses.
Yeah.
So, after him, though, I got 2 more that are fascinating. Mark Richt at Miami. Looked great last year. But, man, that QB disaster is pretty bad. If they struggle to get to a bowl game, he'll struggle to keep his job. They're not going to keep it around. The U wants to be back. Rick will be done. But my favorite one, I'm going crazy here. Gus Malzahn at Auburn. Yes, now they paid him a lot of money. They'd owe about $30 million, $35 million on a buyout, if I'm correct. Just to get rid of him.
Yeah.
But you're competing with LSU, you're competing with Texas A&M, you're competing with Bama. There ain't no time to be slouching.
You got at least win one of those games.
And right now, they've already got 3 losses, if I'm correct. Either 3 or 4. And you've already lost to Georgia. Or you haven't lost to Georgia, sorry. You're going to lose Georgia on Saturday. But you've already lost to LSU. You've already lost some games that you shouldn't have lost in there.
Tennessee.
You still going to lose Georgia and Bama this year. You'll be right around that 5-6 loss mark. That's not acceptable if you're an Auburn team. Not acceptable in a year that you're supposed to be a title contender. So, yeah, I think Malzahn's done there. I think it's the end of Malzahn.
Any other crazy things going on this?
Well, last thing on coaches, I think it's time for Lincoln Riley to go to the NFL. I think he's going to be the prize boy, and I think someone's going to pick him up. And watch Luke Fickell at Cincy. He's going to get a big-time job. Looking at Auburn or West Virginia or honestly even Penn State. One of those is going to give him a call because he's done wonders at Cincinnati already.
Yeah, he really has.
Yeah, but outside of that, no, I ain't got much. I mean, the draft, it's going to be a crap draft. Transfers, Fields at Georgia might look for a new home from there. I think Haskins transfers at OSU. And I think Herbert and Khalil Tate come back in the pack.
Haskins is one of those guys that were on that Heisman list that just fell off the last couple weeks.
But I think OSU struggles, and I think they're going to move forward with Tate Martell and maybe a new coach. Could he retire? No one knows.
Will they bring Fickell back?
No, they ain't going to bring Fickell back. They didn't like him in the first place. All right, but guys, this was just a quick segment. We probably went a little longer than we meant to, but hey, it's a boring week.
Gotta have something to talk about.
Yeah, don't want to leave you guys hanging. So we'll be back next week. We'll make it more interesting. Catch us for NFL next week. We'll do another college edition, update things.
See you guys later. Have a good one. It didn't go bad.
It wasn't great, though. It's college. Nobody watches college.
Silly.